Hey everybody, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where we talk all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. Today, I thought I'd share with you my Pilot collection. Now, my Pilot collection has, I say, been like, I don't know, on and off for the last few years. I think I'm actually looking through my spreadsheet, and for the longest time, the only Pilot that I had was I guess no, that's not true. I think for a while I actually didn't own any Pilot pens just because I had kind of moved away from that. I didn't even have any vanishing points. I maybe had a Kakuno, but I wasn't using it as much. And then now, since let's say 18 months ago when I purchased the vanishing point, my collection has definitely changed since then in terms of pilots and has grown almost exponentially. So I just wanted to share a quick little update of my Pilot collection. I won't be able to do writing samples because the only one that's inked up actually is this Pilot Kakuno in the Cumulus White. Now I did have, actually no, this one is inked as well. Yeah, anyway, my brain. This is what I get for trying to film a video after I finished work and I've been talking for most of the day. But I wanted to take you through all of these models, and I almost want to kind of change the order of these because, yeah, I think I started with the Kakuno. I started with, in the early days of my collection, I started with a clear Pilot Kakuno, and I almost want to show you this one because this is the first Pilot Kakuno that I ever owned. And I had owned a few because they had different nibs on them as well. This one actually has a medium calligraphy or stub nib, and I don't include it in my everyday because I don't really use it. I think I had switched out the nib on this one. Let me just check, and I had switched out the nib on the other one as well. Yeah, so technically if we look at all of my pilots, these are all the Kakunos that I currently own. And if you look closely at the body of this Kakuno, you can kind of see some bite marks there. This was the only pen that Lucy, oh goodness, Lucy, my dog, bit. She hasn't ever tried to eat any of my other pens, thank goodness. But anyway, just a quick overview of the Pilot pens that I do own. As you can see, I love the Pilot Kakuno. The Kakuno was one of the first pens that I ever tried almost 6 years ago, and I love the cost of the pen. I love that you can put a Pilot Con 70 in this pen, or you can refill the converters. But I also love the nibs. The nibs on these are actually interchangeable with the Pilot Prera as well as the uh, Metropolitan. My husband loves the Metropolitan, but the Metropolitan is just too heavy and too narrow for me, whereas I definitely prefer how the Kakuno feels in my hand. But you can certainly change and swap the nibs over. That's why I have a medium calligraphy nib in here. And then I purchased this clear one from Amazon because it has an extra fine nib. And then I swapped this nib with the nib that is currently on the Pilot Kakuno in the Cumulus White or the Mataromi White. So I have an extra fine nib on here. I actually don't mind it with the silver nib. I think it actually looks really good, the silver with the white. And then the other Mataromi series, the Azure Sky, which is the light blue. This has a fine nib, and that has a lovely smiley face on it as well. And then the first of the Mataromi series that I purchased was the pink, which is the Rosy Dusk, again with the lovely cute smiley face on here. I just love the Kakuno because, one, it's such a workhorse, powerhouse, whatever. It's a workhorse of a pen for a great price point. This one is the Nimbus Gray, which I think sometimes looks a little bit more, because it's supposed to be Mataromi brown, but it doesn't look brown, it looks more gray. So it's Nimbus Gray, again with the fine nib. I know that the Mataromi series come with either a fine or a medium nib, and my favorite happens to be the fine nib. And then lastly, we have this one. This is Twilight Periwinkle, again with the fine nib. And I always put a Pilot Con 70 converter in these just because the Con 40 is not great and you can get so much more ink capacity with a Con 70 in here. But really the Kakuno, you can't go wrong with this, whether you're just starting out in the hobby or you've been in this hobby for years. The Kakuno is such a great pen. Now, I do have a Grail Pilot Kakuno that I'm on the lookout for. I saw this, I think it was an anniversary, a special anniversary edition of like a dark green color, similar to the green color, the forest green color of this Custom 74. And I am trying, well, I'm not actively trying to find it, but I'm hoping that they re-release that or it becomes on sale somewhere, or if anybody is able to find that dark green color Pilot Kakuno, please let me know, because that would just, I don't know, I think I would probably, if I got that one, I'd probably end up selling like these 3 and keep the pink and the white and the green, and then I'd be set. Like, obviously, I don't need this many Kakunos, but for the price point, I'm happy to keep all these because I love being able to have a Kakuno inked up every single month. But I'm just going on and on about this, but I guess not giving you too many of the details. But really, with the Pilot Kakuno, you've got a Pilot steel nib, which is really a very consistent, smooth nib, and it's got a great ink capacity if you use the Con 70 converter, but you can also syringe fill the cartridges that come with it. It's got a triangle grip here that for anybody who is bothered by that, that may bother you a little bit, but for me, it's actually not too bad. I don't mind, although I'm thinking like maybe the way that I put the nib in here is a little awkward. But that triangle grip that's in here is actually for those who need help with gripping their pens. This is actually really helpful for that, but I don't really use it for gripping. I'm actually gripping it right now, and actually I don't, it's not bad. But if you need help with your grip, then it's got the triangular grip along the grip section there. But it's just a great, comfortable pen, very lightweight, and also very cost effective. For this particular pen, I know you can get the clear pens on Amazon for quite a good price, like less than $15, I think. But for the Mataromi series, I purchased these from AliExpress for $18.50 Canadian. There was 3 that I purchased for that price, which was fantastic. And then I got a different one. I'm looking through my spreadsheet here. I got the Mataromi pink from AliExpress, and it was a lot more expensive than these. So I think these are also actually available at Atlas Stationers. And if you use my link below, then you can, well, affiliate link, I get a little bit of a commission for that, but also Pilot is just such a great, great brand. Anyway, I could probably spend the whole time talking about the Kakuno and the benefits of the Kakuno, but I have a whole separate video on that. And then really, I highly recommend it for anybody who's just starting out in the hobby. Okay, moving on to the next pen. The next pen that I have is also, I think, another workhorse. It is the Pilot Vanishing Point. Now, I know a lot of people are split on this because they don't like where that clip is. It just bugs them. But for me, with the way that I grip my pen, that clip is not at all uncomfortable. And I love, whoop, that retractable. Such a great mechanism, very smooth, but also the close on that door, the seal on that is really, really good. I haven't really had any trouble with starting this again after not having used it for so long. And then with this specific one, this is the Black Carbon-esque model, I actually refill the cartridge in this because this Vanishing Point, I've actually switched it out for an extra fine nib. So this is an 18 karat extra fine nib that's in here. This is my planner pen. I love the extra fine nib on the Vanishing Point. However, I do have to say that when I first got it, it wasn't as smooth as my fine nibs, for example. So I had to get it tuned and smoothed by Kirk Spear just to get it the way that I like it. And now it is perfect. It's so crisp and just lovely to write with. And I'm feel like I'm going to show you, let's see if I can find a little writing sample here. Like just even that, like look at how tiny, okay, sorry, I'm going to zoom out here so you can at least see. This is the writing with the Pilot Vanishing point with the 18 karat extra fine nib and that as well. This is in my passport planner. I don't know how that helps with the relative size, but I love using this for like teeny tiny writing. You can see the grid size here, very teeny tiny. That grid is about 5 millimeters, and I can fit about 2 lines worth of text using that extra fine nib. Love it for my planner and for teeny tiny writing. Now I still have the original fine nib that came with it. Yeah, I believe I have the original fine nib that came with it. This is not it. It is somewhere. Oh, there it is. Slight panic when I thought I wasn't there. Yeah, I still have the 18 karat fine nib that I purchased with the original Vanishing Point, but then I had purchased the nib unit with the extra fine, I believe from PenChalet. Yes, from PenChalet. They just sold the nib units separately. So I was able to buy the nib unit separately and just put it in the pen. And I'm so happy with that. But now I have an 18 karat fine nib unit that I'm not using in anything at the moment. But I love this pen for, like, I have this with me on the go when I leave the house, which is very rare. Well, I mean, I work from home, so it's not that I take my planner out with me very often, but when I do, this is the pen that I use for writing in appointments and things. And like, you can see how tiny my planner is, and you can see how tiny things are like that. So one of my most favorite pens, just because of how reliable and just it's one that I can really depend on. And that's why I'm loving my Pilot collection so much, because these are pens that I depend on, and I love being able to have a Kakuno inked every month. And then my most recent addition to my Pilot collection is this Pilot Custom 74 in forest green. I don't know why I held off purchasing one for the longest time. I purchased this from Atlas Stationers and I am in love with it. I wrote with this basically every day for the month of July because I use this in my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal. This comes with a 14 karat fine nib, and it's their number 5 size nib. So it's smaller than a number 6 size nib, and I'll show you the size of the nib compared to the Kakuno, for example. It's a little bit larger than the Kakuno nib, but it's definitely smaller than, let's say, a number 6 Yovo nib. I'm going to pull one out here so that you can see the different sizes. And depending on the Pilot like custom model that you get, the nib sizes are going to run a little bit larger. So that's a Yovo number 6 steel nib compared to the number 5 uh, 14 karat nib from Pilot. And Pilot does their nib sizings differently. So the Pilot Custom 742 has a number 10, I believe, and then the Pilot Custom 823 or the 743 models have the, I apologize, number 15 size nib. So I think I'm definitely in the future going to probably add a 743 back into my collection. And I say back into my collection because I did own a 743 a few years ago, and I wasn't a fan of the writing experience. And maybe it was just that particular pen. But I think now, with the way that my tastes have changed and my writing preferences have changed, I think adding a Pilot Custom 743 back into my collection is the direction I need to go in. But in terms of the colorways that are offered in that model, I would love a green, but I don't think they really have them. So I don't know, maybe I don't know. I'd love a green in that, especially a green that looks like this. Like I said, I'm in my green era. So anything that's green in any of these models would be amazing. So I think for me, in terms of Pilot, why my collection looks like this, basically the Kakuno is such I feel like it's a staple in my collection. I always have a Pilot Kakuno inked every single month, and now having this Pilot Custom 74, I would love to have one in an extra fine nib, but I'm thinking to myself, what other colors would I want to add to my collection of the Pilot Custom 74? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, okay, that is an overview of my whole Pilot collection. This was just me babbling for 15 minutes. And basically, it was a whole love story about why I love my Pilot collection. And you can see that my Kakuno collection has exploded since, well, since I first started, but I don't mind because then that just means if I'm rotating through my collection, I am using a Pilot Kakuno every single month. And I loved the Custom 74 so much that I'm tempted to, and don't hold me to this, I'm tempted to try the extra fine in this, but I don't want to get another Custom 74 in the same colorway. So I don't know. What do you think? I love the green and I would love, you know, a 743 in a green, or I don't know, would I have to settle for, a black? That sounds so bad when I say it like that, and I apologize. But I don't know. Anyway, basically the whole point of this video was to show you my Pilot collection, and I've just talked nonstop, and I don't know if I've made any sense, and I appreciate you all listening. Let me know, what does your Pilot collection look like, and do you think it's worth it for me to invest in a 742 and 743 if they came out in a green colorway? What do you think? But also, if you know where to find that forest green Kakuno, please let me know. All right, but that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. And again, thank you for staying with me through my whole Pilot ramble. Have a great day.